All right, everyone. So we're going to talk now about some of the spiritual services that I offer. One, my most popular thing is the spiritual counseling, the therapy that I offer as a coach and a spiritual therapist, where you can speak with me for an hour about things in general with life, and I help you work through the trauma and resolve the trauma and get some healing and actually help you move forward with your life. I've helped people get past abusive relationship, get past the trauma that occurred in their childhood, get past being addicted to drugs, things like that. Um, and then that's just the side of people have issues with parents, with children, people who are going through a divorce, people who are thinking about getting married. There's a lot of different reasons why people come to me from the for the counseling standpoint, right? So that's available. But then there's people who come to me from the astrology or the numerology side of it because they want to have guidance on their life. They're trying to figure out purpose, why they are here, what does things mean, and I do that as well. So I do readings for people in the sense of look at their birth chart, look at their numerology chart, and tell them about the energy that surrounds their life because everything is energy. And if you know about the energy that surrounds your life, then you have the ability to make things work for your good, to make things work in your highest vibration. And then there's people who reach out to me for my intuitive insight. So they have a what I call a two-question reading, or where they want to ask me a question and I give them the intuitive insight of what is going on in their life and even tell them things that are coming in their life outside of the astrology reading. So that is not the same as an astrology has a map of these energies are going to happen at certain times. But I have people come to me and say, will I find a husband? And I can answer that yes or no kind of thing, even if it's not a this is a good time for marriage, which astrology does. This is a good time for marriage, or this is a good type of person, or this is a theme of some people have a theme of having a harder time of getting married or not really wanting that. But people ask me a lot of questions. Will this business be successful? Will I reconcile with my wife? Or all kinds of things. And I use my intuition and the reading to assist them with getting the answers that they want. I also do cord cutting and I also do spiritual warfare. The spiritual warfare is something that I don't always advertise. It is something that normally a person has to be referred to me. And that is because it requires a lot from me. And I also want the person to be invested in the outcome. So I don't want a person who is just like, oh, I want to test this out. We got to really do the work to remove the spiritual things that are holding them back in life. And that also takes a person who is aware of the fact that spiritual warfare exists. So that's not for everybody. Okay. So the cord cutting is an important one. Cord cutting is about breaking the ties with people. And you break ties with people that not just romantically, there are people who need to break ties with a toxic parent or a toxic child or a toxic sibling or a toxic coworker or a toxic boss. So there's a lot of ties that people have that have to be broken. I consider them soul ties. And soul ties mainly, yeah, they occur with the romantic thing, but you can have an emotional soul tie to a person that has to be broken as well. So those are main things that I do. I have manifesting candles that I make, herbal candles that I make to help people in that process of doing some of the spiritual work. And I think there's a spiritual bath, there's a bunch of different things, there's levels to it. So there's a bunch involved in the spiritual work, right? Most people on the surface come to me for just the counseling because I'm a phenomenal counselor and I help them resolve their problems. That's great. Then there's a few other people who realize that they're in the spiritual warfare, and then we work on that too. Great results with both, and I love that for them. I love that for me, right? So that's it on the spiritual side. Be well.